My incel brother hates me because I've had more luck with women despite being younger and shorter than him, so the last time he came to visit me, he made my girlfriend uncomfortable, and I don't know what to do. Basically, my 20M brother, 26M, has never been exactly successful with girls. To be blunt, he's a virgin, has not had a first kiss or gone on a date. He's kind of a nerdy guy, but I'm like a super nerd too. We both play games, read a lot and stuff. Main difference between us is that I also have other hobbies like sports and in general talk to girls more, I think. Though I don't know if talk to girls more is a symptom or the cause. Either way, he kind of strongly resents me for talking to girls. He says that it isn't fair and that I shouldn't be able to do that since I'm younger and shorter than him. For some reason the height is a big thing for him. I'm about 170 centimeters, he's about 185 centimeters. He questions me every time I mention I'm going to go out and gets kind of strongly pissed off if I tell him I'm going with my girlfriend. He's been doing this since I want to say 14, but since I entered this relationship about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, anniversary coming up soon, he got way worse. I don't live with him anymore, but he still calls a lot and has been getting upset. He used to call me in the middle of the night when he felt bad about his girl issues. He had a habit of saying he felt worthless because of not being able to date girls and sometimes calling me around 4 a.m. or so in a borderline panic attack to talk to me about it. I told him to stop this because, well, it was one thing to do it when I was younger, but now my girlfriend usually sleeps with me. Like even when we don't do anything intercourse related, we just like to sleep together because, hey, cuddling is awesome and I'll fight anyone who disagrees. So I don't like my phone ringing at 4 a.m. and told him to stop. Recently he flew over to visit me. I'm at university, and, well, I kind of got the impression he flew over more to try to date someone than to see me. My girlfriend had a, less than positive impression of him and I can't even disagree with her. She went into super protective mode and was like, okay, we're keeping him away from you because, well, his behavior in person got a lot worse than last time I saw him like 2 years before, and he kind of looked at me and my girlfriend funny every time we kissed and stuff. He also, and this is according to my girlfriend and a friend of hers, looked at them in ways that made them feel uncomfortable and looked down my girlfriend's shirt while she was bending over to get something. He used to see a therapist, but gave up. Parents are of no help in that regard. Major reason I've kind of reached my limit is that when I confronted him about the looking down my girlfriend's shirt incident, he started to cry and say that I was being a terrible person because I was turning the first time he saw melons into a bad memory. I'm not exaggerating it. That's exactly what he said. After that I was like, okay, I'm done with you, and didn't talk to him until he left. I spent the whole time with my girlfriend to make sure she was okay with everything. She is okay with me, rather hates him though, which is more than fair. He also complained that I was apparently having more fun with my other friends than with him and tried to yell at me for it. I feel bad for him because there was a time when he was just a really supportive guy and I thought he was awesome. I remember being like 6 and wanting to grow up to being just like him. And now it's like, what happened to you, man? I idolized you. How did it turn out like this? Where's the big brother who had my back and taught me how to handle problems at school? At the same time, the way he's acting is unacceptable, so I'm at a point where either he needs to seriously change himself or I can't see him again. Commenter 1. When I confronted him about the looking down my girlfriend's shirt incident, he started to cry. Wow. Wow. I'd at the very least go low contact with him, if not no contact. Maybe someday he'll get to a better place mentally and you guys can reconnect, but right now he's acting like a royal trash. I wouldn't blame your girlfriend for not wanting to be around a guy who intentionally looks down her shirt and places that image squarely in his spank bank, until you ruined it for him anyway. With behavior like that, it's not at all surprising that he hasn't had any luck with women. Commenter 2. Your brother thinks it is okay to treat women, including your girlfriend, in an objectifying way that is so blatant they are uncomfortable, and when talked to about it actually tries to justify his behavior by implying he is entitled to use women. Yeah, he is well on his way to doing something that is going to end poorly for him and even worse for the woman or girl he targets. If he takes advantage of someone while drunk and she feels violated, is he also going to cry about how she is ruining the memory of his first time? At the best he is depressed, lonely and immature, but that kind of behavior can lead to seriously predatory actions, and I think you do need to consider how he is presenting if you are choosing to bring him around younger women at your college, really any women, but it makes me very uncomfortable to think that your friends are likely 6 years younger than him. If you miss the brother he used to be, talk to him about that. Share not just your anger but also your concern for his well-being. Tell him you're worried that some of his behaviors are getting in the way of him achieving the goals he wants. Give specific examples. Basically say what you said in that post. Share that as long as he is being awful toward women you care about and obviously not supportive of your relationship, it is going to be hard for you to feel comfortable introducing him to anyone. Share that his choice to behave this way is likely impacting his attempts to meet women far more than he realizes. Has he lost other friends due to behavior like this? I'm guessing few of his childhood friends want him around them and their girlfriends either. Tell him what you wrote here, that he needs to seriously change himself or you need to set boundaries. When he calls, bemoaning his lack of romantic or intimate life, repeat ad nauseum, I'm concerned about you, bro. This sounds like something much better discussed with a therapist and I just don't have the capacity to support you that a professional would. I need to end the call, but if you decide you're willing to explore this with a therapist, let me know. I'm happy to help you find one who might be a good fit. If he points out that therapy didn't work before, you say, perhaps that therapist wasn't the right match, but the way you're acting now really makes me think you could use professional support. I'm concerned about you and really want you to make the choice to seek help. Until you do, I need to take some space from you for my own mental health and well-being. Also, when he complains about having a girlfriend, you say women aren't objects, they are individuals with their own needs and wants, and no one is entitled to a partner for either intimate or romantic contact. Being with a woman is not about age or height, it is about loving yourself first and finding another person who is a good match and has similar goals, wants and needs, for the relationship, and by relationship I mean everything from a one-night stand to marriage. Putting me down or comparing us is not going to help you. Nor is disrespecting my relationship or partner. Everything you're saying sounds really unhealthy, and I'm concerned that the choice not to seek help for any mental health stuff is preventing you from finding a partner or impacting your dating abilities much more than your height or interests ever would. I really need you to seek support or make some changes, otherwise I'm going to have to set some boundaries for my own mental health. If he yells at you about your other friends and socially life, say we aren't in competition, we are different people. I care deeply about you, but your failure to be supportive of me is becoming problematic. I worked hard for my relationships, and that included putting work into myself so that I could be the best person I am capable of being in order to treat others well. This has resulted in some strong and meaningful relationships for me. I know you want the same for yourself. Please stop comparing us and instead focus on what you can work on about yourself. You're a wonderful person and I love you very much, but it is clear from your behavior that you have not been treating me or other people well, and I'm worried that that is causing problems for you socially. If he isn't ready to hear any of these messages, then I do think you need to limit contact. Update, 6 months later. As an update, I'm 21 now and he's 27. Been a while since I posted. Happened to come home for a week, reading week at university, and saw I was still logged into this throwaway. Figured an update might be good in case anyone was curious, and more importantly, writing things down tends to give me some clarity. So, I've unfortunately cut off my brother from my life. Not completely, but that's more to avoid issues than anything else. I still occasionally respond to his texts like once every 2 weeks or so, but I've stopped talking and hanging out with him. It's just that a less dramatic cutting him off is more effective than a we're done talk and avoids many issues. He attempted to get into therapy again after I bargained with him, said I'd hang out with him a bit more if he did, but he quickly stopped going after saying that his therapy visits just made him feel worse. Later he explained that he felt like the therapist was judging him by trying to find out why he wasn't having success with women. He didn't quite tell me like that, but after filtering through his rants, that is basically what he said. He repeated things like felt so judged and made it feel like it was my fault a lot. From what he said, it sounded like the therapist wasn't doing anything wrong in my opinion. He continued to treat women poorly and, well, put it this way, he went back to college to join a bunch of clubs so he could hang out and meet new people. Couple days later, he mentions the girls were super superficial and on the same breath starts talking about how attractive they were. Says he's just an emotional sponge to women, which he described to me as, well, just being a friend. Things like hanging out when a friend is down or buying them a soda when you feel like they had a tough day. The way he described it, it sounded like some kind of hell instead of, well, friendship. So I come home one week, parents' place, tournament was near home rather than university, having just gotten a medal at aforementioned tournament, woo, with girlfriend and friends from the team. We are all in a good mood, I cook food and stuff. He goes to his room in a hurry, so I brought him some food I cooked since I know he's awkward in front of new people but might still be hungry. He kind of, not really intentionally, but sort of made me drop the plate by getting on my face and rushing at me, if that makes sense. I was kinda scared. He went on a semi-incoherent rant about how people like him made him feel terrible, and seeing me with friends/girlfriends/sports was the absolute worst thing for his self-esteem, how I was a terrible brother and things like that. He also called me a normie, which is a thing I wish no one not in high school said unironically. Overall he was being very negative and, well, a jerk, so I was like okay and went downstairs to spend time with friends. Later we went back to our university town. Sorry for being vague, just on the super unlikely case he's reading this since he's big on reading Reddit. Well then again, guess he'd know from context anyway, so I guess I'm just being paranoid, and started having a party there. I say party, but come on, we're the fencing team, we're the nerdiest of athletes. It was actually just friends hanging out with some girly drinks. I proudly love girly drinks, they are the best thing, pizza and One Punch Man. I'm having a blast and he calls, asked what I was doing, and when I answered he started crying and going on a rant about how it was unfair that people like me got to have that. I don't even know what people like me means. But either way, he was having too much of an effect on my life and my girlfriend got so sad worrying about me I figured that taking care of my brother wasn't selfless, not now that I'm sharing my life with someone, been living with her for a year now and dating her for over 2. I wanted to be a nice, loving brother and to care over his mental state over my own, but even if I wanted that, I can't possibly care for his mental state over my girlfriend's. And she got way too sad watching me. I had to be a little selfish. So, yeah. Nothing overly dramatic, just kind of did some growing up and realized that nothing ever affects only me, because I'm surrounded by wonderful friends and loved ones. So I put up a lot of distance between brother and one never been so happy. Hurts to distance myself from the brother I've always admired. Like, when I was little, I wanted to be just like him, you know. But now, fudge. It is what it is. Looking back doesn't get me anywhere, right? Or how my coach puts it, looking back is literally against the rules, so like don't do it. For some reason thinking that always puts a smile on my face. Commenter. My older brother told me in middle school to be nice to everyone. You never know who has a hot cousin or friend they want to set you up with. Not the greatest reason to be nice, but you can't be a jerk and expect positive results from people.